everybody, and welcome back to another Menu Monday. So, because of the intro, I guess you know it's all about eggs. I'm on a roll with these intros. But yes, this week I've got freezer breakfast make-ahead things for you to put in the freezer and then just get out any morning, throw them in the microwave. The trick is to get them out of the freezer in the evening so that they are defrosted in the refrigerator overnight, and then you just put them in the microwave. Each one has a little bit of change in direction, but really just get them heated through. They're all cooked. So let's get going. For our breakfast sandwiches, we're going to preheat the oven to 325 degrees and then grease our 9x13 pan. We're going to put 12 eggs, milk, salt, and pepper in this bowl and whisk it. I use the electric mixer. That makes it a little easier. And you're going to pour this into the pan and put that in the oven for about 18 to 25 minutes. But you just want it until the center is set. You don't want to overcook it because they'll continue to cook when you reheat them. I laugh at myself here. I've made these before and I could not figure out how to break these eggs up into 12 pieces. It was like I was having one of those brain, Anyway, once you've figured out how to break the egg up into 12 pieces, you start assembling your muffins. Now, you don't pre-cook these muffins. So the first thing you do is put some egg in there. You can use whatever meat you like. I chose Canadian bacon. And then whatever cheese that you like. I did cheddar cheese. And then you want to wrap them in foil or wax paper or parchment paper, whatever you like to use, and then place them in the freezer bag. And you can freeze these for up to a month. Now, Big Daddy takes them to work. He doesn't want to eat when he first gets up, but he can pop it in his lunchbox. We take him out the night before out of the freezer, put him in the fridge to sort of defrost, and then he takes it to work and pops it in the microwave for a few minutes. I like to toast mine in the oven, so whichever you prefer. But they're really good and easy to reheat, and they're always in the freezer for him for breakfast. He gets up really early, so he doesn't really think about breakfast until he gets to work, and then he's starved. So that's the reason I was doing these freezer meals, make ahead breakfasts. I think this one's his favorite though. This is the one he always takes. Anyway, this makes 12, so that lasts quite some time. These last two, I got some cooked ham out of the fridge because the package of Canadian bacon I picked up only had 10 slices. So the last two I did with just regular ham. As always, directions and ingredients on our website, rvlifeintheusa.com. Here's one cooked in the oven. Really, really good. I hope you try it. For the loaded biscuits, the first thing we're going to do is cook the ground sausage. You could use breakfast sausage. I just got this Italian sausage, but whichever you want. And like I said, 1 pound. This is going to make 12 muffins. And you just want to cook that until it's done. Now you want to drain it. I just use a paper towel when there's very little grease because it's hard to actually pour it out. This works very well. Now for the flour, that should be a ½ cup. I just put it in a little bit at a time. Now this sausage gravy comes up very dry, and it's probably because you don't want it to be like regular sausage gravy because it would make the biscuits soggy. So, you know, don't be surprised. It calls for 2 cups of milk. You only see me put 1 in, but I did actually add another one. My regular ratio for gravy is 1/3 cup of flour, 3 cups of milk, but that's a soppy gravy that would go over regular dry biscuits. So with this one, don't be surprised that it's dry. Now we're going to whisk up 4 eggs and get those cooked and scrambled. And now our eggs are ready. We're going to assemble our biscuits. We're going to spray the muffin tins. There is actually enough here to make, I think my biscuits came in an 8-pack, so you could probably make an extra 4 if you had a bigger oven, but I, of course, only use 12 at a time. But anyway, if you want to do that, we're going to push the muffin, or the biscuits rather, into the muffin tins. And then we're going to start adding the other ingredients. We're going to start with the sausage. And I only used half of this. So I cooked the extra biscuits, I put more milk in and had sausage gravy biscuits and a little bit of leftover scrambled eggs. So that was my lunch for the day. Each ingredient you're going to have to push down to get everything in these muffin tins. Next, a little sprinkle of cheese. I put 1 cup in the ingredients, but I don't know that it was even that much. And then these are the hash browns. It called for 2 cups. And that's my 2-cup measuring cup, but it didn't take half of that. So I changed the ingredients to 1 cup. But of course you can double this if you want to. It depends how many you want to make. They're really, really good. Now the eggs go on top. I started to try and pull the biscuit together, but that didn't work. So I decided not to do that. I just went on. Now it's time to get them in the oven. I used both ovens. I did 400 degrees. It called for 20 minutes. The Emeril Lagasse got done in about 12 to 15 minutes. And the Galant's oven took about 25 minutes because it's not as powerful. It's only 900 watts. The Galant's and the Emeril, I think, is 15 or 18, so it makes a bit of a difference. But they all turned out very good. This is reheating. You just get them out your freezer bag, plop them in the microwave for 1 minute, and they're done. That's taking them out of the freezer the night before. And here's the finished plate. I cut them open so you can see they're really, really good. I hope you give these a try. For our egg and cheese burritos, we're going to whisk up 12 eggs. I seasoned mine with some salt and pepper. That's optional. It's not actually in the directions. And I always put a little milk in mine, but again, optional. And once we get these whisked up, we are going to get them scrambled. We'll speed this up for the sake of TV. And once they're cooked, you put them in a bowl. Now the directions say to spoon the eggs onto the tortilla and then sprinkle with cheese. I decided just to put the cheese in with the eggs and skip a step. But you can do this either way. This turned out just fine. Alright, so getting my station ready. First of all, I'm going to make up the burritos and put them on the parchment paper and let them cool. And I didn't have enough eggs to fill all of my burritos, so there was one wrap left. And I struggle with cling wrap. I really wish I didn't have to use that on this. I don't know, it never works for me. But I felt my own pain watching me struggle with the scissors, so I just cut all that out. Just for y'all. After you wrapped it in cling wrap, you want to wrap some foil around it. And I'm just setting them up on the counter for now, and then we'll get them in a Ziploc freezer bag to store in the freezer. Now, when you're ready to eat the burritos, you want to set them in the refrigerator to defrost the day before, just like all of these recipes that we're making today. And then you pop them in the microwave. Of course, remove the foil and the plastic wrap. About 1.5 to 2 minutes, or until you've got it heated through. Times are going to vary because of the microwave wattages. You can also put them in the oven. So I like to do 350 for 5 minutes for all of these breakfasts in the Emeril Lagasse. Probably if you're using a big oven, it would take longer. If you see one missing, it's in the oven because I wanted to show you what it looked like once it was cooked. Of course, depending on your family size, you can half the recipe, double it, triple it, whatever you want to do. It's just 3 simple ingredients. Unless you're adding the milk, salt, and pepper like I did. Alright, I'm just writing on the bag what they are and the date. There we go, ready to go in the freezer. And here's the one that I cooked and ate, and it was really, really good, and they'll be great to just grab and go. Here are your ingredients. Alright, since I forgot to hit record, I have in here 5 eggs, 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, 2 tablespoons of milk, 1 tablespoon vanilla extract, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and it calls for 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, but as you can see, I used a little extra. So now I need to whisk this up, and again I'm going to use my electric mixer because I just find it easier when you've got a bunch of eggs. Usually when I'm doing eggs I don't worry about it, but this is all about eggs, isn't it? Alright, now we're going to cut the bread. The directions said to cut each slice into 4 equal strips. My bread obviously wasn't as big as the person that wrote the recipe, so I did 3. You do it based on your bread. This is just the Walmart Texas toast. And the ingredients call for 8 slices. However, there was quite a bit of egg mixture left over, so you can do more. I think you could probably do the whole loaf if you wanted to. My freezer's getting a little full with all the breakfast things I've been throwing in there, plus our regular groceries, so I didn't do quite the whole thing. Now we're just going to dip the breadsticks into the egg mixture and put them in the frying pan. Now, I said to use butter, and I did. However, these didn't do too well with the butter. It wasn't that I got it too hot, but I ended up using a cooking spray that's butter flavored, and that worked a lot better. But personal preference. Once they're cooked, you get them out of the pan and put them on a baking sheet that is lined with parchment paper, and you're going to put these in the freezer so that they get harder, and that way you can package them up in the Ziploc bag and they won't be sticking together. I left mine in the freezer for about an hour and a half maybe, but as soon as they start to harden you can put them in the freezer bag. Alright, round 2, and this is where I use the butter spray. I just felt like they were easier to cook with the spray. It could have been the propane oven, or stove rather. Alright, and these are done, so I'm going to get them on another baking sheet. I had 2 baking sheets full. Alright, now they're out of the freezer, and I'm going to get them into the Ziploc bag. And I just dated it. Now these are an exception to the rule, whereas you do not have to get these out the day before and defrost them. You can take them straight from the freezer. I put mine in the microwave for 2 minutes and they're done. Of course, your microwave may vary, but once you figured out how long it takes, you can just grab these straight out of the freezer. And there you have it, ready for when you want them. I sprinkled mine with some powdered sugar, and you see the maple syrup just running there. There's your ingredients. I hope you give them a try. They're very tasty. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this week's Menu Monday. I'll be back for another Menu Monday next Monday. I love y'all. Have a great week. Bye-bye.